had the pleasure of coming across. If y'all don't know her, you should. This is the amazing, the incomparable Erin Pennings. I'm going to go ahead and spotlight you for everybody, Erin. And do you need to present slides?
I do need to present slides. Yes, please.
Okay, let me make it so you can do that.
I want you to follow me around. I really like it when you introduce me.
Right?
We all need a cheerleader, I think.
Yeah.
I need 5.
Yeah, I need a dozen cheerleaders and I'll take them all. Yeah. So yeah, I think you should have co-host permission. I think you should be able to share.
It does not let me share anything right.
Yeah, hold on. Here it goes. Okay, now it's going to behave.
Oh, now I can. Okay. I will try not to hit any buttons that I should not be hitting.
Oh, good luck with that.
Right. So this is my forever challenge. So this is me. Haley did a better job of introducing myself than I ever could. So I'm going to hop right off of this slide. I totally want a theme song as well. And I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger. My path to where I am now, which is a blend of copywriter, brand messaging, and funnel strategy, has been a strange road. And I always like to talk about it because everything that I've ever done has been in marketing. And because I've worked at different stages of the funnel, different stages of businesses, different stages of marketing strategies, it's allowed me to kind of see things holistically and then drop into the angle that matters most, which is why I'm here to talk to you about writing wildly effective copy. So because this is all about funnels, you already know what a funnel is. So I'm going to be talking about things from a slightly different perspective, probably than other people have, because in order to write wildly effective copy, you need to be able to understand the structure of the funnel. So you're writing the right message at the right time and understanding how that works into the funnel strategy. So we are going to get into what the critical messaging is, how to identify it and write it into wildly effective copy. But I do want to run through a couple of these pieces anyway. Basically, as you probably know by now, a funnel is simply an automated way to build and convert your audience. There are a variety of different types of funnels. There are a variety of different structures, but they all have in common that they have a top, a middle, and they have a bottom, which means you have to attract people to you somehow before you can start to nurture them. So to the point that Nicole and Haley were just talking about, you can't draw traffic. You can't run traffic to a $9.97 offer. You have to build your audience, build trust with them, and get to know them first before you can push them down to that bottom. And truthfully, a lot of funnels have like a trap door at the bottom where you can then do upsells and downsells. We are not going to get into that today because for the purposes of this, we're not concerned with trap doors. We're concerned with getting the messaging just right. So, and that main goal of the funnel is going to depend exclusively on what your goal is. It could be simply to get people on the phone with you. Maybe you're doing all of your funnel sales on sales calls. Maybe you want them to sign up for a freebie, whether it's a webinar, whether it's a download, or maybe you actually do want them to purchase something like live, click and send. They go to the page, they buy, you go off into the sunset. Whether you upsell them further, you continue to nurture them. And your path into the funnel does not have to be a free offer. It can also be a low ticket offer. So ultimately, your goal is to make something so irresistible that people can't help but click. And then the job of the emails is to continue building that up. So if I'm moving really fast, it's because you have a ton of information that I want to share with you. Feel free to drop comments in or slow me down if I need to go back over anything. At its baseline, every funnel has 3 main building blocks. They can be repeated, they can be worked in different orders, but there is a landing page of some kind. Sometimes it's very short. Sometimes they are the crazy long ones that are anywhere from 2,000 to 10,000 words. Sometimes they're somewhere in the middle. And it really just depends on your audience, their pain points, and your solution. So you're going to hear me talking about that a lot because those are the three most important pieces. Who are they? What do they care about? How do you fix it? So keep that kind of at the back of your mind as we're going here. The next building block is content. These are the ways that you either get them to the landing page as cold traffic or get them to your next landing page as warm traffic. And then the last piece is, what is the offer itself? And how can you make it so, again, so compelling that they're like, wow, that is such a bargain. Even if that's $1,000, even if that's $5,000, the value that I'm getting from this is so much higher that this is a no-brainer. So dialing it back and slowing down for a second. A simple funnel is a landing page with maybe with a freebie or a low ticket offer, then it's nurture emails, and then it's the offer page. So that's where we're going to start today. But as you'll see, they can get increasingly complex. So what your wildly effective copy is, this depends exclusively on your funnel copy and what you're trying to do with it. So the first step in creating it is to figure out your goal. What is the funnel? What am I trying to get people to do? How much do they know about me? How much do they know about the solution? How solution aware are they? And then from there, you can build a structure. All right, they already know about me. I don't need a super long landing page, or they already know about the pain. I just need to get them from point A to point B. These are people who are super busy. They need the nuts and the bolts, or these are people who want to read and like consume information. You have to know your audience. From there, you can decide what you need to create. Do you need 6 landing pages and 24 emails? Do you need 2 landing pages and 6 emails? What does that look like? And then it's all about the messaging. From there, once you know the what, then I say it's just the messaging. There's no such thing as just or only. So let's go into this. And I am going to show you how to identify your audience's pain points and then empathize with and solve their problems and work the pain and solutions into your copy. And I actually built a workbook just for this that I'll show you how to get to at the end, because this is a nuanced process. The more that you do it, the easier it gets because you know your audience really well. But if you're just starting out, you're going to need to really think through this. And you will need to think through this for every single offer. Wondering what that might look like. If it's a super simple funnel, and by the way, your website is a critical component of your funnel. If it's a simple funnel, you'll just be driving people maybe to your website or to a landing page on your website where you have them book a call, and then you're sending out confirmation reminder emails. Again, it can get much more complicated. If you're building a list or launching an offer, you're going to drive people into the funnel. So you'll need some kind of social media copy, some kind of speaking information. You'll need a landing page. You really do want a thank you page to kind of build, what's the word I'm looking for? To build their confidence, to reaffirm that they have actually done the right thing so that they're already feeling good about it. And then you're going to need anywhere from 3 to 7 emails to move them up to the offer. You're going to want to first deliver whatever you promised. You're going to want to overcome some of the objections while also empathizing with what they're feeling right now. So you really do have to know your audience. As I said, you'll hear me say that often. From there, you need an offer sales page. This could be extremely short. Again, this could be extremely long. And a thank you page that may or may not have upsells or bumps attached to it. And then you'll need a welcome sequence that's anywhere from 1 to 10 emails long. Okay. You also might be doing a webinar funnel, which looks something like this. And Haley will recognize this because this is one that I actually created recently. But you'll see all of the different components, arrows that cross, because this thing can get really complex. And your goal and my goal is to keep it as simple as possible. Okay. If you have questions at this point, I want to let you take a breath, go through it. I see several of you are scribbling notes frantically. So I want to give you a chance to get caught up on whatever you're saying. But now it's all about identifying the critical messaging. So you know what you need now. You need 2 landing pages, 12 emails, 2 thank you pages, and some ads. But what do you say in them? And that's why I'm here today, is to tell you what to say. I want you to think of everything that you're doing as the hero's journey. And if you're not familiar with StoryBrand, it's a book by Donald Miller that has changed everything about my approach to marketing. Even though I've been doing this for 20 years, this is still groundbreaking to me. Basically, there are 3 main characters. There is the hero, and this is the idea behind every story that you watch, every movie you look at. The hero is your client. They are going about their life, living it up, and then they encounter a problem, something that they cannot overcome without help. They look over it, they look around it, they look through it, they can't get there on their own. So they bring along a wise guide. And in this case, that's going to be you, whether you do offer services or products. And you're going to offer something that's going to help them overcome that hurdle so they can then continue off living their life into the sunset. So the key part of this messaging that you want to build is understanding where they are in their journey before they come along this problem. So what are the pain points that they're offering? What are some of the things that they might say? So this means you have to define who these people are. Get as specific as possible. Mike, thanks for plugging that link into the chat. It is the best book for marketing that I recommend if anyone's looking for a good book. But you have to know your audience. Who are they? What are they doing? What is their life like? What does it look like before they come into your world? When do they need you? And more importantly, what's going on before they need you, so you can capture them ahead of time. So when they're ready to make the decision, you're the person they go to. Where do they hang out? And this is important because you want to know where you're reaching them. Are you reaching them on LinkedIn? Are you reaching them in their inbox? Do you need direct mail to direct them into your funnel? All of these things matter. And then, of course, why is this a problem? And you go into your offer. Cool. Now that you know who it's for, you can really clarify how your offer speaks to them, how it solves their pain points. But the most important part of this, well, I guess there's no most important part. One of the most critical parts of this for getting your messaging right is what can they do as a result of your offer? So it's not just the problem they solve, but it's what they can do on that road into the sunset as they're living their life after you've solved the problem. What does that look like? What do they most desperately want? What motivates them? Because there's a couple of frameworks that you may have heard about in copy. One is to state a problem, agitate it, and solve it. One of the most effective ways to do this, and one of my favorite ways, is not to actually focus on the problem, but to focus on their motivation. What is it that they actually want? So you start with the motivation, and then you can talk about why it's a problem, why they haven't solved it yet, how you can empathize with it. Man, I've been there, I get it. Finally, this is my story. Then I got smart and I did this. And I don't want you to go through all these pains that I went through, so I want to solve it for you. Here's my offer. And that's clearly highly paraphrased, but that gives you the idea. With that said, to empathize with your problems, I really want you to think about what your audience is saying. And in fact, one of the best ways to do this is to ask them. Market research is something that is I can't overemphasize enough when it comes to copywriting. And so a lot of my clients, when I'm on these kickoff calls with them, or when I'm looking at their reviews, I may ask the same question 6 ways because I want to get to the meat of this. So they might be saying, I'm so tired of this. Will I ever solve this problem? I just wish I could. If only I could solve this, then I could. If you can fill in some of those blanks, then you can really take off your you hat and put on your client hat. So then for each one of those statements that they have, I want you to come up with a statement that you might solve it. If you've ever said, I'm so tired of trying to write my own website copy, I'm spinning my wheels, I don't know what to say, I don't know where to put it, I might come in and say, if you've ever said this, consider hiring an expert, or consider having templates or swipes, or consider bringing someone in who can tell you exactly what to say, whether you want to do it yourself, whether you want me to do it for you. So then your promise then would be, go from spinning your wheels, staring at that spinning wheel of death, the blinking cursor, crumpling up all the papers and throwing them on the floor, to a website or funnel that you're proud of. And all of a sudden that sets that end motivation. So you can build the business you want with the confidence that your website or funnel is going to back you up every step of the way. So if you can see how I built that. And Mike, so the question that Mike asked is a really, really good one. In today's world, some people really like to still talk about twisting the knife and agitating pain. I like to take a little bit of a gentler approach and let people off the hook, because then they're not feeling as bad about the problem. They're feeling excited about the solution. And that's sort of a shift that I've seen since the pandemic. Man, everyone's tired. Everyone knows about these problems. And it also depends on your audience and what they expect. Hypermasculine audiences may really, really still resonate most with the PAS. But if you can focus heavily on like the motivation for most other audiences, I really think that that is the most effective. I don't have any stats, just personal anecdotes, but I am seeing that being more successful. Because everyone's tired right now. Everyone's been through the ringer the last 3 years. So if you have like further questions on that, let me know. Okay. So going back to this list, now you've got this list of the pain points, you've got this list of the solutions, you've got this list of what they can do as a result. Go back to your funnel strategy and figure out what it is that you need. Whatever it is, and then start mapping out what you need every step of the way. Okay, my social media ads will send people to my landing page, but they'll also introduce the idea and overcome myths. I'm going to need an email to the current audience that will send people to the landing page. Again, introduce the idea and overcome myths. Those two go hand in hand. But the first landing page really is about making a compelling argument that makes getting onto your list a no-brainer. The delivery email is all about, yes, giving them what they asked for, but, showing them who you are. It's not just about saying, here you go, here's your thing, but it's delivering additional value. Don't overwhelm them, but what can you do that will help them feel seen, but also feel like you're on their side? And the nurture sequence is all about delivering additional context in whatever you're delivering. If it's a freebie, if it's a webinar, if it's a low ticket offer, how can they use it? Because how many things do we all download and then never look at again? Probably half the stuff that's in my inbox, I'll admit it. But if you can then keep pushing them back to the problem and offering maybe new ways to tackle the solution that are actionable, that all is really what is going to help move them down the funnel, right? This is that middle stage of the funnel. Then for every email, I want you to define specifics, because if you can outline the stuff in advance, that makes the writing of it like a gazillion times easier along the road. So who are you sending each email to? Who are you not sending it to? Is there anyone that's opted out? Is there anyone who you don't want to buy this because you have already suggested that they might be a warm audience elsewhere? When are you going to send it? How are you going to send it? What is the trigger for sending it? And why are you sending this email at this time? Is it to announce something? Is it to overcome an objection? Is it to share a use case or a success story? What is it? And every email, of course, needs a CTA. So what's the action you want them to take? And if this feels like it's the nuts and bolts of it, it is. It can be as simple as identifying these pieces and then connecting the dots in your emails. And if possible, for each email, come up with some subject line ideas. Maybe they're what you go with, maybe not. Maybe there's something you plug in And then as you're writing it, you're like, "Ah, this doesn't speak to what I'm trying to do anymore whatsoever." Okay. So to the meat of this is why you're all here. You want to know how to write wildly effective funnel sales copy. And again, as I mentioned, your website is an integral part of that. The secret is that there is no single best way to do this. It is all dependent on you, your brand personality, and your audience. However, there are some best practices. And again, here I've outlined my favorite framework. There are a gazillion other copywriting frameworks out there that will work, can work for you. This is, again, my favorite because people seem to be responding to it really, really well right now. And it feels, and yeah, Mike, it also feels really good to me from a moral standpoint, but it is resonating with people as well. So what are the best practices for writing? Number one, I'm going to read some of these out loud, but when you're talking to people, you don't want to go into a room where people are like me, and they're talking all about them. So if you can flip as many of the I do this, we do this statements to something about the benefit to the customer where you can make it all about them, that's what's really beneficial. And make sure to use language that they're using. So if you talk about KPIs and quotas and all these things, but that doesn't resonate with your audience, or if you speak really corporate and your audience doesn't, I want you to back it down to whatever language your audience uses. Because if they feel like you're speaking in their language directly to them, they are going to resonate with the you that you're using in your audience, in your writing. And again, speak to their biggest pains, yes, but also their deepest desires. What do they want? Why do they want this? Will this help them keep their job so they can retire and put their kids through college? Will it help them step out of their job so that they don't have to go 9 to 5 anymore? Just as a couple of examples. And I think it's important also to let them know that wherever they are, it's fine. They got there because of all of these factors in their life, and let them off the hook for not being at the end result, because that gives them hope that not only can it be different, but that you're not like shaming them into being where they are. You're just showing them the possibility. And then, yeah, make what you're selling an absolute no-brainer. Show use cases, show success stories, use as many testimonials as you possibly can without making it overwhelming, that show that this works and it could work for them. Oops, that's a wildly different background. Sorry about that. Some of my favorite headline formulas, feel free to screenshot this if you want. I will update my list to make sure that you can also get this slide. Actually, all of my slides when you grab the workbook. But I like to talk about possibilities. Create this thing without the hassle of. You can do this even if this is your current reality. Get rid of this, ditch the thing that you hate and get this really good thing. Anytime that you can set up a dichotomy that kind of sets up what they want and compares it with where they are right now, that really helps them see themselves. And they say, oh man, this is me. This is exactly what I want to do. Make your CTAs action-oriented, focus on clear over clever. You can add some fun things in. Like I have a client working on with surf right now. So we're focusing on making it super clear what we're offering and then adding the surf language to make it fun. I've popped some of my favorite subject lines in here, some that I've actually used in my recent launch. Make sure to drop emojis in so they stand out in the inbox, because the best email in the world doesn't matter if people haven't opened it. Make sure you're using the first name code, whatever that is, because then it's like, oh, this is my name. So just a couple of things that could be interesting to you or to your audience. And one of the most important things here is if you're sending launch emails on a daily basis, let people opt out of them without leaving your list, because they may not be interested in your product, but they may really want to stay on your list. They just don't want to hear from you every day. So, give them a chance to not be sold to if they don't want to. And make sure you're delivering value or some kind of reason to send the email every day. Okay. I got through that. I timed myself 26 minutes. I'm golden here. But I do have a freebie for you. It is, I call it the funnel copy cheat sheet because it is designed to help you kind of figure out what those agitations are, dive into your audience, figure out what they're saying, those pain points. It also includes some insider info on how to get nice swipes and templates for funnel copy, like landing pages, nurture emails, webinar emails, all of those things. So if you want it, you can grab it here. But otherwise, questions. Oh, Gray's Angel. How do you get the emails from the process? I think you're talking about the email addresses. So that's going to be like the top of the funnel. You set up a group, but I'm not sure how to edit it. I'm not 100% sure on context there. So if you are collecting emails, you could collect them as entry to a free Facebook group. You could collect them with a webinar or a freebie or a low ticket offer. There's a number of ways that you can get that. And that's actually a list building funnel is one of the key funnels.
Erin, what was the URL to get your freebie again?
Oh, sorry, here, and I will drop it in the chat. I'm moving quickly.
Okay, cool.
And that is on the back end. Oops. Actually, it says, I am not copying the right thing. There you go. So, yeah, I'm not 100% sure what else you might be asking there, Gray. So I'm happy to speak to that in more detail if I can. Okay. Anyone else have questions? I know I covered it on the ground.
Yeah, I have a question, Erin. I think it was really important that you said not to shame people for where they're currently at. What is, like, just kind of quickly an example of the kind of language that you would use to say that's not awkward?
Yeah. So like,
You know what I mean?
actually like to drop into quotes, like if it's a landing page, especially like, you know, I'm so tired of not being able to button my pants, for an example. And then you put it in quotes, and that's like something that they might say. And then you could say, gosh, been there too. In fact, not only are you not alone, but you could drop a stat that shows why they're not alone, shows some of the problems people might be having. That's where stats come in really powerfully, because it's not just you saying it then, it is also everyone in your audience saying that there is this statistic out there. There's this study. There are like 4 million other people that currently have this problem, whatever it is. You know, if I'm writing something to other copywriters, I might be say, look, you got to stand out. There's 135,000 of you. How are you going to do that? So it's not just you who has to stand out, but it's every single other person. That's just one example. There's a number of ways. Or you could tell a personal story if this is your past reality that you solved. Gosh, you know, it's easy to get there. I get it. You stay up all night, you do these things, 1, 2, 3, list them out, because then they're like, oh gosh, I've done that too.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Absolutely. Fantastic info, Erin.
Thank you.